It's the Happy Families Podcast.
I love that Valentine's just gives me this pretty big kick up the bum reminder.
That you love me?
No, you're not the only person.
Oh, it's not about me. Damn.
You're not the only person, and I think that
Who
that's
else do you love? Hang on.
No.
What's going on here?
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
Love is in the air. Love is in the air.
Do you remember when you were at school, Kylie, and this song would come on the radio? Were you born? Are you sufficiently old to have been like on a school bus on an excursion and hear John Paul Young singing "Love Is in the Air"?
I don't know in that context, but I definitely have heard the song.
I remember that song coming on maybe when I was in about grade 3, grade 4, heading off to a school excursion. And as soon as it did, all the kids just started, in today's parlance, the kids would say everyone started shipping one another. The shipping is like where you say, oh, you've got the hots for this person.
Yeah.
Everyone was shipping everyone. And then all the boys were, love is in the air. They were singing silly at the back of the bus and pointing fingers at people who were supposed to be in love. I mean, it was grade 3, grade 4, right? But this is that time. It's that time of year where love is in the air.
It had to be you. It had to be you.
1 week, less than a week. Next Tuesday, it's Valentine's Day.
Are you all sorted for Valentine's Day?
Haven't given it a moment's thought until we sat down and started to prepare this podcast. And I was only thinking about it in the context of kids as well. I haven't even... You've asked me the question. I've just failed. That's all right. I've got 5 days to figure this out.
That's okay. You've taken care of the wedding anniversary, so I'll take the pressure off. I'll look after Valentine's.
Have you given it any thought?
I have so given it thought.
Are you just saying that?
No.
Really? You've actually thought about Valentine's Day for us?
Yes. My gift cupboard is already sprouting red.
Really?
Yeah.
For us or for our kids?
For us.
So we've got a big Valentine's tradition in our home that we'll get to shortly that you do with our kids every year. But you've actually thought about us.
You're hilarious.
I'm just saying it because I'm incredulous. I haven't thought about Valentine's Day this year at all.
I have been looking forward to Valentine's Day for quite some time.
Really? So should I be excited about this now?
No.
Why are you looking forward to it then?
Because I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, right. Okay, well, today's podcast is about kids and Valentines. Should your kids have a Valentine? How old do they need to be before they start to talk about Valentines? But it got me thinking, do you even know where Valentine's Day comes from?
There was a person called Valentine?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, that's part of it. Do you know any more? I've literally just Googled it. I haven't even read the paragraph that describes it yet.
No, that's all I know.
I've lived my entire life not knowing.
Who needs to know?
And hating Valentine's Day. I've never really liked Valentine's Day. As a kid, I hated it because I was just a reject at high school. Nobody ever considered giving me a Valentine for Valentine's Day.
Did you give one?
I had some huge secret crushes and I gave a few Valentines out over the years, yeah. But I was that awkward, dorky kid that had no idea how to approach a girl and say, will you be my Valentine? I just used to slide things into people's school bags and they'd get a secret Valentine from me and have no idea that it was from me, because if they knew it was from me, it would have been shameful for them.
Well, the only time I remember, I don't even think it was a Valentine's, but it was a love letter. There was a boy that I liked in grade 6, and my friend and I got together one afternoon and we practiced putting lipstick on and kissing the page because there was this acronym, SWORK.
SWORK?
Do you know what I mean?
I never heard of it.
Sealed with a loving kiss.
Ah, SWORK. I see. That's
so I
romantic.
Sealed my envelope up and I kissed it.
You SWORKed him?
I did.
Right. Did he know that it was from you?
He did.
And did you get...
I got mocked a lot.
You got mocked?
Yes.
For the
SWORK.
SWORK?
I never did it again.
You never SWORKed again? I've never been SWORKed.
I never wrote another letter like that again.
Did you ever receive Valentines?
No.
Look at that. 2 rejects and we ended up together.
You choose me? Happy Valentine's.
I don't...
Birds of a feather, honey. Birds of a feather.
So we're going to get to whether or not Valentine's is a good thing or a bad thing, especially when it comes to kids. I have a feeling we're going to have different opinions on this. It's just a feeling that I've got. We haven't talked about it ahead of time. But Valentine's Day, I'm just going to put it out there, uber commercialised, absolute rubbish. I just don't like it, especially for kids. So I did a little bit of research and thought it was worth just highlighting where Valentine's Day comes from. This is what I found about the history of St Valentine's Day. No one has actually been able to pinpoint the exact origin of the holiday, but it seems that ancient Rome is where it may have begun. Check this out. Okay, so Roman celebrations were not celebrations like we have today. Roman celebrations, as opposed to ours, where we get excited and everyone's kind to one another, they were kind of violent. I mean, even now, one of the Greek celebratory things to do is smash plates, right? That's kind of my big fat Greek wedding sort of thing. But the Roman celebrations feasted at this time called Lupercalia between February 13 and 15. The men sacrificed a goat and a dog. Then they whipped women with the hides of the animals that they'd just slain. The romantic...
I don't think I like this celebration.
No, I'm so glad we don't do Valentine's Day like that. Maybe we'd stop doing Valentine's if that's what we were still doing. Let's sacrifice some animals and whip each other with their hides. The Roman romantics were drunk. They were naked. Noel Linsky, and now a religious studies professor at Yale University, said young women would line up for the men to hit them. They believed that this would make them fertile. In addition to that, there was a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew the names of women from a jar. The couple would then be, coupled up for the duration of the festival, or maybe even longer if the match was right. The ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of our modern day of love. Emperor Claudius II executed 2 men, both named Valentine, on February 14 of different years in the 3rd century. Their martyrdom was honoured by the Catholic Church with the celebration of St Valentine's Day. So things sort of spread out after that. The Normans celebrated Gallatin's Day. Gallatin meant lover of women, which was likely confused with St Valentine's Day. I could go on and on. History's fascinating and so violent. I'm so glad we live today and not back then. But that's where Valentine's Day came from. In other words, it's got nothing to do with anything that we do today for St Valentine's Day. Kylie, my question for you is, do you reckon kids should be celebrating Valentine's Day, whether it's whipping people with hides of animals or handing out chocolates and roses? What are your thoughts? Are you a Valentine's Day fan? Do you think that it's...
I am totally a Valentine's Day fan.
Ask me what I think.
I know what you think.
Ask me anyway.
What do you think?
Hate it.
We are in total agreement that Valentine's Day has become this over-commercialised day of celebration.
Yep.
And for the most part, it's quite trite.
I think it is. I think it's empty, it's vacuous, it's fetishized, it's romanticized, and it's got nothing to do with real life. It's a strong opinion, isn't it?
Well, no, because I think all of the different celebrations we have can be seen in exactly the same way. Christmas can be seen as over-commercialised if all we do is focus on, the
externalities,
overabundance of gift giving.
Yep.
And so for me, I love that Valentine's just gives me this pretty big kick up the bum reminder
that you love me.
No, you're not the only person.
Oh, it's not about me. Damn.
You're not the only person, and I think
Who else do you love? Hang on.
No.
What's going on here?
This is where I think Valentine's Day is a wonderful opportunity to help our children recognise and learn the art of expressing love to others. Because I use Valentine's Day to express love to my children. I spend Valentine's Day expressing love to you. They're all different expressions of love, but it just gives you a framework. We shouldn't need one, but in the lifestyle that we live and the fast-paced lives that we live, I think that it's great to just have a day that's designated to being grateful for the loving relationships that we have in our lives, because there's plenty of relationships that aren't.
Can I be close to you?
It's the Happy Families podcast, the podcast of the time poor parent who just wants answers now. So, Kylie, should kids be celebrating Valentine's Day? Like, yes or no? Just straight up, yes or no?
That depends.
Yeah, okay. All right, so should kids between the ages of, let's say, 0 and 8 be celebrating Valentine's Day?
Not in the true sense, no.
When should kids start to celebrate Valentine's Day in the true sense? With a romantic interest, with a flame, with some kind of
The
gift
later,
giving?
the better.
Right. So what's that, 18?
Yeah.
Right. You're so funny.
So one of the things that
I love Valentine's Day for kids when they're 18.
No. I have loved, and the kids have enjoyed doing it with me each year, especially in those younger years, prep to probably year 3, I can push it to.
Right.
They just make a little handout for the whole class. It's not about exclusivity. It's about just an acknowledgement. I'm so glad that we're friends.
Okay, so you're saying that for young kids, Valentine's Day as an expression of gratitude could be cool. And I've seen what happens. So there's 2 traditions that we have in our home that you've completely taken ownership of because I won't be part of it. The first is that, and I actually do really like this first one, you create a beautiful Valentine's lunch for the kids. They go to school with everything pink and red and Valentine's-ish in their lunchbox. Like cupcake, they've got red grapes, they've got strawberries, just a whole lot of reddish and pinkish
Heart-shaped
things.
sandwiches.
Yeah, that's right. You've even got the little thing that gets rid of the crust and throws it in, and the kids get a heart-shaped ham sandwich because ham's pink as well. So you do that, and I think that's really beautiful to let the kids know you're thinking of them.
And they get a little love letter from me.
Yeah, on a special day. But you also have often sent the kids to school with a bag full of Valentine's gifts for the entire class. And I think that's
You make it sound abundant. It's not really.
I think it's a bit extra. It might just be a lollipop for everyone in the class. But I've read and heard of some schools who are stopping Valentine's, especially in primary school. They're just saying that's too much. We don't want it. It's causing too many dramas. And
Well, I think it does. When you think about your experience, you think about my experience, and we talk about this exclusivity in expressing love towards one person or an attraction towards one person, then there's a real risk that for those that are on the outer, they get left behind.
you're dealing with, and this was what I dealt with all through school. Not that I think that I've been traumatised by it. Maybe it was good for me. Who knows? Unrequited love, this feeling of rejection. I remember once in grade 3, I went to give Bobby McMinn a heart-shaped
Bobby
necklace.
McMinn.
Yeah, I went to give her a heart-shaped necklace that I'd bought. I mean, it must have cost me all of $14, but I saved that thing for weeks because I had such a big second or third grade crush on Bobby McMinn. And as I was giving it to her to say...
And she got better deals than I did.
Stop it. Don't say things like that.
Seriously.
As I went to give it to her, somebody sort of walked into our interaction, and I remember snatching it back off her and saying, "Give me that. What have you got that for?" Because I didn't want anyone to see that I was trying to give Bobby McMinn this romantic gift. But there's a lot to be said around Valentine's and inclusivity, right? Like some schools are understandably saying no because some kids feel deeply rejected on Valentine's Day. They have that unrequited, unreturned love. It really hurts. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
I think I'm on board with you when it comes to high school. I think that I have watched too many Valentine's Days go wrong.
Pear-shaped, yeah.
Yeah, and...
But of course, you can't stop it in high school. The kids are big enough by then to kind of...
So a couple of things I have seen in the past, which I have really thought was a great stance from a school perspective.
Yep.
The senior boys, for instance, would actually purchase enough roses for the whole cohort of girls, and every girl would be given a rose.
Okay.
And I think that that's really nice. It's just the idea of being thought of. And I think, again, I don't buy into the exclusivity, nor do I buy into the commercialism of it. I just think we're often so restrained in our ability to express our feelings. And I just love the notion of helping all of us kind of get outside of ourselves and be a little bit vulnerable and share.
You know what? I hadn't thought of it from that point of view, and I do like that. So long as it's done carefully, I still think that we can run into trouble with things like consent. That is where somebody may awkwardly and terribly uncomfortably approach somebody else and leave them feeling uncomfortable as well. I can imagine that over the course of history there have been some very uncomfortable Valentine's moments where people haven't quite understood boundaries, or they've pushed a little bit too hard, a little bit too far in trying to express themselves and trying to be vulnerable, and it's left the recipient, let's assume a standard heterosexual interaction, it's left maybe the girl feeling quite uncomfortable because the boy has been awkward and perhaps a little bit excessive in his expressions of adoration and love, and saying, please be my Valentine today, or my heart will be broken and I won't be able to live. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can see those kinds of things going in some fairly awkward ways. My take on it is, I don't think that we should be encouraging romantic interactions with young kids. Full stop, end of story. As kids get older, they start to explore those kinds of interactions, and hopefully they're doing it at an age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate time and in the right way. But I tend to discourage strong expressions of Valentine love on days like this. But I do like your vulnerability piece.
Well, I think that's where the red lunchbox has really helped our kids. Valentine's Day, they're counting down the days. They know that Valentine's Day is Tuesday and they can't wait for the lunchbox. That's the highlight of their day. They're not actually focused on the external. It's internal for them. And I love that. And I love that what could be a really anxious and awkward space for them is one of celebration, because they recognise and know that mum's going to let them know how much she loves them.
And that is my favourite part of Valentine's Day in our family.
Because you don't have to do a list.
Yeah, kind
Anything.
of. That's right. You know what? I might send them a little love note in their lunchbox this year.
Oh.
I'll think about it. Anyway, food for thought as we move toward Valentine's Day. It's worth having a conversation with the kids in the next few days. Find out if they've got a Valentine in mind, how they plan on spending it. My take-home message really, and I don't think I've touched on this sufficiently, although perhaps it's been implicit in much of what we've talked about, is this. If your kids are interested in Valentine's Day, if they do want to express romantic interests and affections on this day, I think it's important that we talk to them, male or female, regardless of the target of their affection. Talk to them about ways that they can express their interest so that the recipient of their affection is flattered and built up, is elevated by it. We want this to be a positive experience, not an awkward, oh my goodness, I can't believe how embarrassing that was. Let's mock somebody because they got it all wrong.
So in light of that, my suggestion is the school playground's probably not the place to express those feelings.
That's probably where it's going to happen though. So I think that's why these conversations matter so much. It's worth having the chat this weekend. Hey, have you got a Valentine in mind? What are you going to do about it? How can you do it in such a way that they feel comfortable and you get to express yourself in a way that feels good to you? To me, that's the conversation. And hopefully your kids are going to say, no, I don't have one, and no, I'm not interested in it, and then you don't have to worry about it. But if they do, it opens up the door to some, I think, really important conversations.
Well, I'm looking forward to continuing the tradition in our house. The Love Heart cookie cutters are all ready to go.
I can't wait for Valentine's Day. You've given me something to look forward to, and I'm hoping that it's not just a Love Heart sandwich. Although if that's all it is, I'll still be grateful. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. If you'd like more information about making your family happier, we'd love for you to join us in our Happy Families membership. Memberships are from as little as $13 a month. Our premium membership is $18 a month, or you can get an annual membership and get 2 months free by paying up front. So much value there. Please take a look at it. I think you're going to love it. Otherwise, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.
I blinked and suddenly I had